The great Brahma gods, from each of the 5 pure abodes, brought the news to all beings that 100,000 years from now, a perfectly enlightened Buddha would arise in the world. Those who wish to meet up with him must maintain the 5 moral precepts and constantly develop loving kindness. Humans and deities wondered who the future Buddha might be, but no answer was forthcoming until a sign appeared, making the identity of the heavenly Bodhisattva known. The deities and Brahmas met together for the sake of inquiring who the Enlightened One would be. At that very moment, the answer became clear, as they all saw the 5 preliminary signs appearing in Santusita Devaputa. The 5 signs which appeared were withering of the decorative celestial flowers on his body, the divine raiment becoming discolored, sweat dripping from his armpits, his complexion becoming mottled, and a feeling of weariness with the heavenly world arising within him. Upon recognizing the 5 preliminary signs, the deities invited Santusita, the Buddha to depart from Dusita heaven and take birth in the human world. Santusita Devaputa then made the 5-fold survey of the earth to see if conditions were right for his birth. The first criterion was that the lifespan for human beings at the time must not be too short nor too long, suitable for attaining the Dhamma. The continent must be India and the country the middle country. He must be born either into the warrior caste or as a Brahmin, and his mother must be one pure in moral conduct with much accumulated spiritual virtue. Seeing that all of these conditions were fulfilled, the Buddha-to-be accepted the invitation to be born upon the earth.
How do you Royal astrologers, interpret the Queen's dream.
Your wife, the Queen's dream, indicates that you are to have a son. He will possess tremendous merit, great power and might. He will be peerless.
My lord, tradition calls for me to return to my family home at Dewataha to give birth.
You have my permission.
Counselors, let's stop and rest here. We have now completed half of our journey. The forest park of Lumpini is so beautiful and shady. We've been traveling half the day. You must all be tired. Let's rest for a while.
Your Highness, if that is your wish, then please rest beneath that solid tree over there.
I feel as if I'm about to give birth.
Quickly, join in and help. Her Majesty's time has come. Hurry, hurry!
As soon as the Bodhisattva was delivered from his mother's womb, and before he could drop to the ground, 4 great Brahma gods from the 5 pure abodes spread a net of gold to receive his body. On that day, the full moon of the 6th month, the year of the Buddha's birth, equivalent to 623 BC.
I am supreme in the world, foremost in the world, most excellent in the world. This is my last birth. There will be no more birth for me.
Sadhu.
I have heard the good news of your son's birth and have come to pay a visit.
Venerable Asceta, I thank you very much. And as you have been respected by the Sakyan royal family for a long time now, would you be so kind as to examine my child's physical characteristics? The whole family gathered here would be able to hear.
Your Majesty, please place your child in the cradle first, so that I can see him well. This royal child exhibits all the characteristics of a great being laid down in the ancient texts. I have never seen any being with the signs expressed to such perfection.
Huh? Venerable Asceta!
I have examined the characteristics of your newborn son. I predict that when your son has grown up, should he lead the household life, he will become a wheel-turning monarch, a great king of the world. But if he should leave, he will become a fully enlightened Buddha, supreme teacher of gods and humans. Oh, but it's such a pity.
What's such a pity, Venerable Asceta?
It's a pity that I am too old to have the chance to live to see this great being grow up.
In the future, my son will be a great being with more power and might than any other in the world. From the 108 Brahmins I invited for the naming ceremony, you 8 have been selected to interpret my baby son's characteristics. You are all proficient. Please give your prediction for my son's future life.
Your Majesty, having examined your son's characteristics, I predict that, should he inherit your throne, he will become a great wheel-turning monarch with an empire that spreads far in every direction. But should he go forth as a monk, he'll become the perfectly enlightened Buddha, the unequaled supreme teacher and guide to the world.
Venerable Kundanya, you are the last of the 8 Brahmins. Do you agree with the other 7 Brahmins that my son has 2 courses, either to become a great wheel-turning monarch or to become a fully enlightened Buddha?
I have considered your son's characteristics in detail. And can see only one path for him. He will certainly not live as a householder, but will go forth as a monk. Then he will become enlightened as the Lord Buddha. This is beyond doubt, Your Majesty.
You predict my son will reject the household life. What would cause him to make such a decision?
Your son will see 4 signs: an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and a monk. These signs will inspire him to give up the royal throne for the sake of the holy life, through which he will become enlightened as the Buddha.
Well, I'd like my son to be a great wheel-turning monarch, ruling the 4 great continents, the greatest prestige for any king. From this point onwards, I will not allow my son to ever see an old, sick, or dead man, or a monk.
Having predicted the prince's future life, the 8 Brahmins gave him the auspicious name Siddhartha, meaning he who will succeed in that which he desires. Having returned to their homes, each of the Brahmins instructed their sons that when the time comes for the new prince to leave the household life, they should go forth and follow him. Seven days after Prince Siddhartha's birth, his mother, Queen Siri Mahamaya, passed away and became a god in the heaven of Tusita. So King Suddhodana had Queen Siri Mahamaya's younger sister Mahapachapati raise Prince Siddhartha. Later, the king took Mahapachapati as his new queen. King Suddhodana and Queen Mahapachapati had a son and a daughter together, but the queen still loved and cared for Prince Siddhartha as if he were her own son.
Both of you would like to go and watch the plowing ceremony, wouldn't you? Today my father has had the city decorated in preparation for a great ceremony. It only takes place once a year. Go and watch. I will simply sit here. You needn't worry about me.
With your permission, we'll go and watch for a while. As soon as the ceremony is finished, we'll be right back, Your Highness.
Left alone in a peaceful and shady glade, Prince Siddhartha began to sit in meditation, attaining the tranquility of the first jhana. As the afternoon passed by, the shadows of all the trees moved with the course of the sun, except for the shade of the rose apple tree under which the prince sat. It did not shift position, but remained steadily in place. When the companions returned and saw this wonder, they were startled and conveyed the news to the king, who went to see for himself.
When my son was newly born, Asita the hermit came to look at him, and to my surprise he bowed at my son's feet. On that day, I also bowed to my son for the first time. Now, my son has performed this marvel. Having seen it, I feel I must bow to him for a second time.
When Prince Siddhartha was 7 years old, King Suddhodana had 3 ponds dug in the grounds of the palace, so that the prince could enjoy himself playing with his friends. Upon seeing that the prince had grown sufficiently to begin his education, King Suddhodana sent him to study with the renowned teacher Visavamitra. Prince Siddhartha trained in 18 arts and sciences until he was adept. He was his teacher's top student, and before too long he had learnt all that his master could teach. When Prince Siddhartha reached the age of 16, King Suddhodana had 3 palaces built for his son, one in which to reside during the hot season, one for the rainy season, and one for the cold season. The king, wishing to prevent his son from leaving the household life, consulted with his ministers and obtained the hand of Princess Yasodhara for him in marriage. Time passed by until Prince Siddhartha reached the age of 29 years.
Siddhartha, there is nothing worth seeing outside of the royal palace.
Since I was a child, I've not once set foot outside the great walls of this palace. I'd like to see what's outside.
There's no place out there as beautiful or pleasant as right here inside our royal palace.
That may be true, but I'd still like to go and see for myself. Please give me permission to go outside, Father.
Well, if you really want to, I won't frustrate you, my son. I'll have a royal chariot prepared. Tomorrow morning, you may go outside.
Thank you very much, Father. Oh, so this is what it's like outside the palace. Why did my father say there's nothing worth seeing and wish for me not to go out? Channa, stop the chariot!
What is it, Your Highness?
Look at that man over there. Why is his skin so wrinkled? And why is he having trouble walking?
Oh, that's an old man, Your Highness.
An old man?
Everyone who lives for long enough will come to be like that man, Your Highness.
Everyone must come to a state like that? Chana, stop the chariot.
What is it, Your Highness?
Why is that man sitting and shivering over there?
He is sick, Your Highness.
He is sick?
Sickness is a natural part of life. We must all experience sickness, every one of us. Your Highness! Your Highness! Where are you going? Your Highness! Please come back! Please get back on the chariot, Your Highness.
There's a man wrapped in that cloth, isn't there?
Your Highness, that's a dead man.
And must we all die?
Yes, Your Highness. There isn't anyone that can escape death.
Even me?
Yes, Your Highness. Even you are subject to death.
Chana, stop the chariot.
That is a monk, Your Highness.
Oh, so calm and peaceful, composed and restrained, truly inspiring.
Your Highness, your wife has just given birth to a son!
My dear child, I've just begun seeking for a path beyond suffering, and now you are born, like a snare for my heart. I will give you the name Rahula, which means fetter. Yasodhara, you are as dear to me as my own heart. Rahula, you are everything to me. But not one of us can escape old age, sickness, and death. I must find a way for all of us to go beyond suffering, no matter how much trouble or turmoil there is in the search. Channa, wake up! Channa, wake up!
What is it?
Channa, go quickly and prepare my horse, Kantaka. Don't let anybody see you. Meet me in front of the palace gate. Hurry!
Yes, Your Highness.
At the moment that Prince Siddhartha was leaving the palace gate, Vasavati Mara, the great deceiver, manifested. He was now worried that he could not use the prince's enjoyment of sensual pleasures to keep him under his control.
Ha 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 ha! Prince! Better go back into the royal palace. In there everything is lovely, pleasant, and comfortable. In just 7 days, you'll become a great wheel-turning monarch. Don't give all of this up. If you leave, you'll get nothing but trouble, torment, suffering, and sorrow.
I don't want to become a great wheel-turning monarch. I don't wish for possessions, or comfort and happiness, because such things are not likely to free me from suffering, nor are they likely to help me assist my loved ones and my subjects. Step aside and allow me to pass.
Do you think you can escape from my power? I'll be here waiting for you, you see, for a chance to overwhelm you with greed, hatred, and delusion. I'll follow you like your shadow. Let's see who will win this battle! Ha 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 ha!
We've reached the river Anoma. Stop right here, Channa. If I'm to attain to the supreme enlightened knowledge, may these strands of hair float away into the air. But if I'm not to succeed, may they fall to the ground right here.
When the prince threw his hair up into the air, it floated into the sky and didn't fall down. Indra, the king of the gods, caught it in a crystal casket, which he then enshrined in the Kulamani shrine in the Tavatimsa heaven. The Brahma Gatikara offered the prince the 8 requisites of a samana and received in their place the prince's raiment, which he installed in the Dusa shrine in the Brahma world.
Don't be sad and upset, Channa. I'm doing this in order to seek the way out of suffering for all beings. You must go back and inform my father that I will not return to the royal palace until I have attained direct knowledge of the end of suffering.
The horse Kantaka was so grieved to be parted from Prince Siddhartha that his heart gave out and he died right there. The power of his appreciation and gratitude to his master carried him to Tavatimsa heaven, where he was reborn as a god. Having left Channa behind, the renunciant prince walked on to a mango grove, where he stopped and resided, eating no food for a period of 7 days. On the 8th day, the renunciant prince left the mango grove to go for alms in the city of Rajagaha. All the townspeople could see that this monk was different from other renunciants because of his radiant complexion and an ineffably calm demeanor.
Oh, he's so handsome.
What's he, a god? Wow, look at that one.
Wow, he's handsome, he's beautiful. That's amazing. Look at that guy right there.
Wow, look at that. Look at him.
Delighted, the people spoke to one another, praising the monk's splendor, saying that it was as if a god had descended from heaven for humans to see. Once the renunciant had received a suitable amount of alms food, he returned to his place of rest. Sitting, the prince contemplated the motley food offerings within his alms bowl, all mixed together. It was an unappetizing sight.
In the past, I would partake of only the most refined and delicious foods. Now leading the holy life for the sake of seeking truth, can there be any point in being fussy over what I eat? This nourishment is merely a necessity for sustaining life.
King Bimbasara of Rajagaha sent his men on the trail of this samana, whom the townspeople regarded as splendid, like a god. He then went to see the renunciant prince for himself. When King Bimbasara saw the dignified, peaceful demeanor of the young monk, he felt greatly inspired. Then, exchanging conversation with the samana, the delight in his heart increased all the more. Due to his suspicion that Prince Siddhartha had left the palace due to a dispute with his relatives over the throne, King Bimbasara offered the throne of Rajagaha to the prince. But the prince refused the king's offer, having renounced his own throne, not due to a dispute, but in order to seek the way beyond suffering.
With such firm intention, I'm sure you'll attain the supreme enlightenment. Once you have done so, may I request that you come and teach the Dhamma to myself and to the citizens of Rajagaha.
The renunciant prince traveled on to the hermitage of Alara Kalama in order to study and practice under him. In a short time, he had learned all that his master could teach, and so then he traveled on to seek Udaka Ramaputta at his hermitage. Before long, he had come to the end of this teacher's knowledge too. When he asked about attainments beyond that which he had already been taught, Udaka Ramaputta could offer no reply, but instead offered him the leadership of the community. But when the Bodhisattva saw that what he had learned was not the way out of suffering he was seeking, he took his leave and moved on in order to continue his search for higher truth. The Bodhisattva came to Uruvela at Senanigama and considered the fresh coolness of its shady forest, with orderly rows of trees and a river running through, located nearby to the village. It seemed a suitable place for him to continue striving for liberation, so he ceased his traveling and settled in that spot. The Brahmin Gondanya was very pleased to hear the news that Prince Siddhartha had gone forth, and hurried to seek out the sons of each of the 7 other Brahmins with whom he had divined the identity of the Bodhisattva according to his physical characteristics when he was just born. He managed to gather and persuade only 4 of these sons, and then together the 5 Brahmins left the household life and set off in search of the great renunciant. The 5 Brahmins now gone forth were Gondanya, Vapa, Badiya, Mahanama, and Asaji. This group of 5 together were known as the Pankavaggiya. The Pankavaggiya followed after the Bodhisattva through various places until they found him practicing ardently in the place where he had settled. They settled there with him, attending to his needs, with the hope that when he attained enlightenment, he would teach the Dhamma to them. The renunciant prince was intent on seeking the path to enlightenment. So he took up 3 of the extreme ascetic practices that were favored by the practitioners of those days. For the first period, he pressed his teeth against his teeth and his tongue against his palate, so firmly that sweat ran from his whole body. The pain was as severe as if someone were gripping his throat tightly, strangling him. When he saw that this was not the way to enlightenment, he gave up on the practice and changed to another method. For the second period, he restricted his in and out breaths, stifling them until both his ears rung loudly, his head ached, and his stomach racked with pain, his body as if on fire. But no matter how great the distress, he did not give up his efforts until he saw that this was not the way to enlightenment. Seeing this, he gave up the practice and changed to another method. For the third period, he fasted until he was emaciated, wrinkled, his complexion discolored, his bones and sinews extruding. Exhausted of energy and suffering greatly, rubbing his hand over his body, the hairs stuck to his palm.
I've carried out the extreme ascetic practices, pushing the body to limits which no other could exceed. Why have I not yet attained enlightenment? Or perhaps this path is not the way to liberation.
The Bodhisattva is worrying and wondering about the path to realization. What's the best way to help him? Aha! This is the way.
One string of that lute is too tight. A little pluck and it snaps. One string is too loose. When plucked, the sound is barely heard. One string is just right, not too loose, not too tight. When plucked, the sound resonates far and wide, sweetly. Oh, it is the practice of the middle way that leads to enlightened knowledge. But the current state of my body surely can't support efforts in developing the mind along the middle path of practice.
Prince Siddhartha, whom we had held in esteem as a bodhisattva, bound for success, even after practicing strictly for 6 years, using all his effort, is still unable to achieve enlightenment. Now he's relaxed his efforts. And eating proper food again. How will he ever succeed?
Quite so. Venerable Kondanya, you're the most senior amongst us. What do you think we should do?
Under the circumstances, there can be no use in attending to him any longer. The time has come for us to take our leave. On the night of the 14th waxing moon of the 6th lunar month, as dawn was approaching, and the Bodhisattva close to waking, 5 auspicious signs appeared in his dreams. Which he interpreted as follows. 1. He would achieve enlightenment as the Buddha. 2. He would declare the true Dhamma for the benefit of all humans and deities. 3. A great number of people would come to train under him, thus establishing the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. 4. People of all castes and classes after training under him would come to understand the same pure Dhamma. 5. People from all over the world would bring offerings to him to express their faith and trust, but his heart would remain unstained by even the slightest attachment to such wealth. In the village of Uruvela Senanigama, there lived a wealthy man's daughter named Sujata. When she was young, she made a vow to the deity abiding in a banyan tree close by, so that she might have a husband of equal wealth and birth, and that her first child might be a son. Once her wishes had been fulfilled, she prepared a rice dish, prepared with cow's milk and honey, as an offering to honor the tree deity.
Madam Suchada! Madam Suchada!
What's the matter, Puna? Why are you rushing in such an excited way?
It seems that the tree god has come to receive your offering. I saw him at the banyan tree over there with my own eyes. He's glowing with a beautiful halo all around him.
Ah, everyone, quickly help! Puna, go and fetch a golden tray for the honeyed milk rice. We'll take it out to offer to the tree god. Quickly, go, go! All of my wishes have been so graciously granted. Please, may I offer this meal of honeyed milk rice and this golden tray to you?
I offer this prayer. If I am to succeed in realizing perfectly enlightened knowledge, may this golden tray float up the river against the current. But if I am not to achieve my goal, may this tray float downstream with the current.
In no long time, 3 Buddhas have become enlightened here, and now one more is about to attain to the Dhamma.
I'm a Brahmin called Sautya, sir. I'm inspired with great faith at the sight of you. Please let me show my respect. May I offer you 8 handfuls of blade grass?
For as long as I have not yet attained to supreme enlightened knowledge, even if my blood and flesh should dry up with only skin, bone, and sinews remaining, I shall not rise from this seat.
I've been following Prince Siddhartha's every step, so as to stop him from achieving enlightenment. If I let him go ahead with this, he'll slip out of my grasp for sure. I must cut him off now. I must destroy him. Ha 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 ha.
The power of the Bodhisattva's spiritual qualities and goodness, accumulated over countless lifetimes, protected him as though in invisible armor, his heart steady and peaceful, unshaken by fear.
Prince Siddhartha, do you think you can escape from Vasavati Mara's control? Huh? My powerful weapons cannot harm the prince. I must make use of a ruse to deceive him. Prince Siddhartha, the seat you sit on came to be because of my own spiritual powers. My troops are my witnesses. You must get up at once.
Pay attention, King of Deceivers. This seat comes to me as the fruit of my good actions, accumulated through all of my efforts in the past.
Then who will bear witness to your ownership of this seat?
I will bear witness.
Dharani, goddess of the earth!
All the merit made by his good actions in the past, even the water which he has poured on the ground in dedication of merit, soaked up by my hair and kept close to my head, is sufficient to bear witness to his virtues.
After his victory over Mara and his host of deceivers, the Bodhisattva's mind was firm, focused, and concentrated. At dusk, the Bodhisattva began to develop meditative insight, attaining to the first knowledge, Pubenivasa Nusatinyana, the ability to recollect his past lives. In the silence of the late night, he attained the second knowledge, Kutu Papa Tanyana, knowledge of the passing away and rebirth of beings according to the results of their actions. Close to dawn, the Bodhisattva attained to the third knowledge, Asavakayanana, knowledge of the destruction of mental defilements, complete liberation and freedom from suffering. He thus came to be the fully self-awakened Buddha.
Craving. With you I've been born again and again, but now you are revealed, and your power redundant.
After the Bodhisattva had attained to the Dhamma and become the Buddha, he sat under the Maha-Bodhi tree, enjoying the bliss of freedom for 7 days. Then he went and stood in the open, gazing back at the Maha-Bodhi tree and recollecting its virtues. He stood there and gazed, without blinking, for 7 days. After that, the new Buddha walked back and forth between the Maha-Bodhi tree and the place where he had stood for another 7 days. Having walked meditation for 7 days, for the 4th week he sat meditation in a crystal shelter prepared for him by heavenly beings. He sat and contemplated the most profound Dhamma for 7 days.
Sisters Raka, Arati, that's the recluse Gotama who attained the Dhamma.
That's right, Sister Tanha. That's him for sure. Our father, Lord Mara, together with all his troops, could not defeat this one and was humiliated. It's up to us to find a way to take revenge.
Tanha, Raka, in this world, I've never met a man whose heart could resist the 3 of us. We who embody infatuation and desire.
Arati, you're right. We will use our femininity to ensnare the recluse Gotama in the bonds of sensuality and entangle him for countless time.
Oh, Prince! Oh, Prince! Prince! Ow! Oh.
Daughters of Mara, go back. There is no way you can succeed in what you are trying to do. For I have utterly destroyed all kinds of satisfaction and infatuation.
My name is Tanha, and this is Rakan Orti. We're not here to tease or deceive you, but the truth is, we are quite taken with the sight of you.
Really and truly, sir, no one has ever made us feel so enamored as you. No one, sir.
That's right. The three of us offer our bodies and our hearts to your service, expecting no reward. Our wish is simply that you find satisfaction in us, even if only for a short time. That would make us so very happy.
I've told you already. I have utterly destroyed all kinds of satisfaction and infatuation. You will not find what you are looking for. There is nothing for you here. You should go away.
From this moment on, no one will ever again be able to wield power over the Samana Gotama, the Enlightened One.
In the 6th week, the Buddha sat enjoying the bliss of freedom underneath the Mogalinda tree. As he sat, the rain fell constantly. A king of Nagas, called Mogalinda, saw him and was inspired with faith. He coiled his body around the Buddha, then opened his hood over the Blessed One's head to protect him from the wind and rain. When the wind and rain subsided, he uncoiled from the Buddha and changed his body into the form of a young man, bowing and paying respects to the Buddha.
I, Naga King Mogalinda, am the Buddha's servant. I pay homage to the Blessed One.
Silence is happiness for the one who has seen the Dharma. Delight in the peace of seclusion, harmlessness to all beings, freedom from lust, and overcoming sensuality. These are the highest joys in the world. Eradication of conceit is the greatest happiness of all.
In the 7th week after his enlightenment, the Buddha sat and enjoyed the bliss of freedom under the tree called Rajayatana for another 7 days.
O Lord Buddha, you have enjoyed the bliss of freedom for 7 weeks without taking any food to eat. Please accept this medicinal fruit I have brought for you from the heavenly world. Those 2 merchant brothers made merit with me in the past. I should take this opportunity to help them meet the Buddha.
Look, Tapusa, all of our carts have stopped as if fixed to the ground. No matter how much our men work the bullocks to make them pull, the carts still won't budge. They just won't move.
It's strange. Why would the... What?
You 2 merchants, do you know that the just now enlightened, perfectly awakened Buddha is now sitting under the Rajayatana tree over there? You'd better go and pay your respects to him, then offer him the baked and ground grain meal you're carrying with you. It will be a cause for your benefit and happiness for a long time.
Your 2 humble servants bring baked and ground grain meal to offer. Please may the Lord Buddha accept our offering.
I lost my alms bowl before my enlightenment. When I accepted the honeyed milk rice from Sujata, I floated the golden tray off in the stream. Now these 2 merchants are offering me a meal. A recluse should not have more than 1 alms bowl.
We, Tapusa and Balika, declare ourselves to be lay Buddhists. We take refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma for the rest of our lives.
Your 2 humble servants, Balika and Tapusa, would like to ask you for some object that we may keep, to honour and revere.
I have attained the Dharma, which is profound and subtle. It is difficult for ordinary people to understand and practice. There are several kinds of people in this world. The quick-witted, upon hearing my teachings, know and understand them quickly, just like a lotus flower above the surface of the water that blossoms as soon as it receives the sun's rays. Those of moderate intelligence, having heard my teachings and then receiving some further explanation and training, are able to know and understand within a short time, just like a lotus flower level with the surface of the water, ready to blossom the next day. The slow-witted, having heard the teachings, receiving further explanation and training, persevering with faith, are able to know and understand in the end, like a lotus flower below the water, which grows upwards before finally breaking through the surface and blossoming. The final kind of person, no matter how many times they hear the Dhamma, are unlikely to grasp the meaning or understand, although their listening may be a cause for realization in a future existence. This type may be compared to a lotus down in the muck and mire, falling prey to fish and turtles, not rising up and blossoming. This being the case, I'll preserve my life for the sake of spreading the Dhamma. I will teach humankind until the Dhamma becomes firmly established and widespread for the benefit and happiness of all for a long time.
Sadhu.
It's a pity that Alara the hermit passed away 7 days ago, and Udaka the hermit passed away just yesterday. If Alara Galama could have lived for another 7 days, and Udaka Ramaputta just one more day, they would both have surely attained enlightenment.
The Buddha had known through superhuman knowledge of the passing away of Alara Kalama and Udaka Ramaputta. Then he remembered the Pankavaggiya, the 5 monks who had attended him while he was practicing extreme asceticism. Each of the 5 had well-developed faculties. If they could hear the teaching, they would surely soon attain to the Dhamma.
Ah, that's Gotama, the recluse, the one to whom we formerly attended.
So it is. The one who gave up his austerities. All right. If he comes here, we won't bother to get up and welcome him. We'll just put out a seat. If he wants to sit down, then let him sit.
Look, we're so glad to meet with him again that we've forgotten our agreement to show no interest. Even I, myself, forgot it completely.
Recluse Gotama, what leads you to visit us here in this forest?
Do not address me in that way. I have now, Attain to the Dharma. Pay attention to my words. If you follow my instructions, before very long, you will realize the Dharma.
While practicing austerities for a long time, you did not become enlightened. So how could you? How could you have attained liberation after giving up your efforts and causing us to abandon you?
Throughout all of that time, did I ever say anything like this to you all?
No, it's true. You have never said anything like this to us before.
Entangling oneself in sensual indulgence, tormenting one's body with hardship and pain, these are ways a renunciant should not undertake, for they stray from the path of enlightenment. The middle way, that is, the noble eightfold path, is the practice that leads to Nibbana. There are four noble truths as follows. Suffering, disease of the body, disease of the mind, should be understood. Craving, which is the cause of suffering, should be abandoned. Cessation of suffering should be realized. The path of practice leading to the cessation of suffering should be developed.
Once the Buddha had given his first Dhamma teaching, the Venerable Gondanya gained the vision of Dhamma and thus became the first stream enterer.
Anya Kondanya, Kondanya knows the truth.
Lord Buddha, please grant me ordination as a Buddhist monk.
You are now a bhikkhu. Well taught is the Dharma. Practice the holy life and put an end to suffering.
The Buddha gave ordination to Venerable Vapa on the first day of the waning moon, Venerable Badiya on the second day, Venerable Mahanama on the third, and Venerable Asati on the fourth. On the fifth day of the waning moon of the 8th lunar month, the Buddha gave the teaching known as the Anattalakkhana Sutta.
The 5 groups that we take as a self are as follows: body, feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, perception and memory, mental formations, sense consciousness, awareness of mental impressions. These 5 aggregates are not me, not him or her, not mine, not his or hers, not myself, not his or herself. All these things are impermanent and insubstantial. It is their nature to arise, persist for a while, and then pass away.
After listening to the teaching, each of the Pankavaggiya attained to arahantship.
Actually, these women are not so attractive at all. My father built me 3 mansions, one for each season of the year. He hired beautiful maidens to play music and entertain me. I thought I was living a happy life, but now I feel tired of this way of life. Is this all I came into this world for? Are these the only things that can give one happiness in life? Then why do I feel so bored and fed up? How troubled I feel. How frustrated. How troubled I feel. How frustrated.
It is not troubling here. It is not frustrating. Come this way, Yasa, and I will teach you the Dharma. Dana, or giving, means training one's heart to know generosity, to know sacrifice. Sila, or morality, means establishing one's heart within the full doctrine of goodness. Heaven is the reward for a wholesome heart. The harm of sense pleasures is the heat and worry that comes with attachment to the sense of a self. The benefit of renunciation is that present suffering can be abandoned, with no other suffering taking its place.
After the gradual teaching, the Buddha taught the 4 Noble Truths. Once he had given this teaching, Yasa attained to the fruition of stream entry.
Hey, these are my son Yasa's shoes. Wait here, all of you. I'll go after him myself.
Here comes the father. If he meets with his son now, it may prevent him from realizing the Dharma.
You sitting there, have you seen a young man named Yasa? He's my son.
Please take a seat first, and I will teach you the Dharma. And after that, you will meet with your son.
Then the Buddha gave the same Dhamma teachings that he had given to Yasa.
Oh, the Buddha has helped gain the vision of Dhamma. I declare myself a Buddhist and take the Triple Gem as my refuge for the rest of my life. Yasa, hurry back home. Your mother doesn't stop crying out of worry for you. Let's go back now, my son.
Yasa has now heard my Dhamma teaching twice, and has fully penetrated it. He is now an Arahant, with no thoughts of returning to the household life.
Yasa, now you've gained what is truly supreme. Please, may I invite the Lord Buddha to receive alms food at my house this morning.
Once the wealthy man had left, Yasa requested ordination as a bhikkhu. Once Yasa's mother and wife heard the Buddha's teachings, they both gained the vision of Dhamma, attaining the fruition of stream entry. They declared themselves as Buddhists and took refuge in the Triple Gem, becoming the first female followers of Buddhism.
Vimala, Subahu, Punaji, and Gavampati. You were my close friends during the time when I was a layman. Now I've gone forth and do not concern myself with worldly pursuits. For what reasons are you all here?
We heard you'd gone forth, and were sure you must have had good reasons to do so. And so we came to see you.
Well, if that's the case, I will take you to meet the Lord Buddha, the one who has shown me the light. I will request the Lord Buddha to give you instructions as well. Follow me.
Listen, all of you. Once you know the unwholesome and the roots of the unwholesome, know the wholesome and its roots, know decay and death as well as their causes, know the cessation of decay and death, the path leading to the cessation of decay and death. Once you know suffering and its causes, the cessation of suffering, know the path leading to the cessation of suffering, then you can be said to have the right view.
The 50 of you are all friends from my home region. If you need help with something, I will do whatever I can to help you.
When we heard that you had ordained as a monk, we felt inspired, and it made us want to ordain as well.
Very good. I will take you to meet the Lord Buddha, but you must make the request for ordination yourselves.
Listen, all of you. A bhikkhu in this Dhamma Vinaya is taught not to grasp at any state. Hearing this, he understands with wisdom. Understanding with wisdom, he attends to knowing all states as they arise, knowing feelings as they arise, pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, neither pleasant nor unpleasant feelings. He considers the impermanent nature of feelings. He observes the arising, persistence, and passing away of feelings. Seeing impermanence, he grows weary of feelings, weary and disinterested. He is able to let go. Meditating on letting go, not grasping or clinging to feelings, leads him to contemplation and realization of cessation. Bhikkhus, you have now attained the sublime Dhamma. So go forth and travel from place to place, spreading the Dhamma. Proclaim Buddhism for the benefit of the many, but let no two travel on the same route. As for myself, I will go to Uruwela Senanigama to spread the teachings there.
Because of that one courtesan, the 30 of us have had to go through all this trouble, forcing our way through the forest into this cotton plantation.
That's right. She stole our clothes and our jewelry. If we catch up with her, then...
Whoa, wait. Look, there's an Ascetic sitting under that tree over there. Let's ask him if he saw her pass by.
Ascetic, sir? Did you see a courtesan dressed in green pass by here?
Please, sir. She took off with our clothing and our jewelry. So now we're searching for her, but we can't seem to find her.
O Bhattavagya, is it better for you to seek for this woman, or to seek for yourselves? I guess it would be better to seek for ourselves. In that case, I will teach you the Dhamma. The wise person rids himself of infatuation and preoccupation with the 5 sensual pleasures. He sees that life is short, and to be distracted by such pleasures is like being snagged and bound up, just as a fish is caught by a hook. Having taken the bait, it's a cause for much suffering and struggle thereafter. Bhattavagya, you have now all been ordained as Buddhist monks. So go forth and proclaim Buddhism by spreading the Dhamma for the benefit and happiness of all.
Ascetic, sir, why are you coming into my hermitage?
Venerable Uruvela Kassapa, I've come to ask permission to stay here.
Here we practice fire worship, but this ascetic is not one of our kind. What does he want?
I'm sorry, sir. I have no accommodation for you here. Please look elsewhere. But I would suggest that you travel in a different direction from this. This bank of the Naranya Jara is occupied by we 3 Jatila brothers. My name is Uruvela Kassapa. The surrounding area belongs to myself and my 500 followers. Further on down the river is the hermitage of my younger brother, Nadi Kassapa, and his 300 followers. The area beyond that is occupied by Gaya Kassapa, my youngest brother, with his 200 followers. These 3 riverside hermitages are full. There's no room for you to stay. But I can see a place which is available. Where, ascetic? In your fire-worshipping shrine. Please, give me permission for me to stay there. Ascetic, I don't mind if you stay in there, but I must warn you that there is a fierce and strongly poisonous serpent king in there. If you spend the night in there, your life will be in great danger. Uruvela Kassapa, please give me permission to stay. The Serpent King will do me no harm. If you say so, please make yourself comfortable in the fire-worshipping house.
by now. The recluse must have been burned up by the fire of the Serpent King. Ah, this recluse is of great might. But despite his power, he's still not yet an arahant like me. This ascetic is indeed of great might. The gods of every heaven realm take turns to come each night to hear his teachings. But despite his power, he is still not yet an arahant as I am. There's been a tumultuous rain, and it has flooded the whole area. Surely the ascetic has been washed away or drowned.
Master, sir! Master, look over there!
This ascetic has so much power. But despite all of this, he's still not yet an arahant as I am.
This fire worshipper is so proud and conceited. He insists he's an arahant. How stubborn he is. Uruela Kassapa, your way of practice does not lead you to the path and fruit. So why do you consider yourself an arahant? Having deceived yourself, you deceive others. If you could give up your pride and practice according to my teachings, in no long time you would truly be an arahant.
Oh, I realize my fault. Please may the Buddha allow me to take ordination and teach me the Dharma.
You are the master of a great hermitage with many followers. You should make this known to all of them.
Hey, these robes and fire-worshipping implements must have washed down the river from where my two elder brothers live. Something must have happened to them. Brother Urvela,
Brother Nati!
Oh, Gaia, your two elder brothers have found the right way of the Dharma. Quickly bring your 200 followers to approach the Buddha, the one who illuminates the path.
O bhikkhus, all things are burning. Contact with the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind are burning. Feelings, mental formations, and consciousness, whether pleasant, painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, are burning. Burning with lust, hatred, and delusion. Burning with birth, aging, and death. Burning with sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. The well-taught noble disciple, seeing this, becomes weary of thoughts and feelings. Being weary, he releases his clinging. Releasing his clinging, his heart is freed.
Oh, the Buddha has come to stay right here. When I was a young prince, I made 5 wishes. 1. May I be crowned king of the Magadha state. 2. May the Buddha come to my land. 3. May I have an audience with the Buddha. 4. May the Buddha teach me the Dhamma. And 5, may I realize his teachings. It seems that all of my wishes are about to be fulfilled. Follow me. We're going to seek out the Buddha and ask for his teaching.
Dana, or giving, has forgiveness as its highest form. If one develops giving along with forgiveness, one becomes gentle and restrained, and one's heart becomes cool. This is because one has to let go of one's attachment to material things and to one's sense of self.
And now, all of my wishes have been fulfilled. Oh yes, your teaching fills me with the greatest joy. Please, may I invite the Lord Buddha and all of the bhikkhus to have a meal in my palace tomorrow morning. The Lativana Park where you're staying is far from the city. It is not convenient for the faithful lay people to visit. Please, may I offer the Veluvana Park to you. The Veluvana Park is cool, shady, and very large, not far from the city, but still quiet and peaceful. Please, give me your permission to build a monastery for you here.
Oh, this is the great Velvana Monastery. A solid foundation for Buddhism has now been laid. Since I, Asaji, left the Buddha at the Deer Park in Isapatana in order to go and spread his teachings, I've not met with him at all.
Upatissa, you're not enjoying the play, are you? You seem completely indifferent and uninterested.
Ask yourself the same question, Kalita. You seem quite unimpressed yourself.
Neither the actors nor the viewers will live for more than 100 years. In no long time we'll all be dead. We're absorbed in watching entertainments, seeking fun, but for what benefit? Surely it would be better to seek the path beyond all suffering.
I've been thinking the same way as you. All right then. Let's seek out a teacher under whom we can live and practice.
To which hermitage should we go? Which teacher should we seek out?
These days, there's so many sects. But we should choose the school of Master Sanjaya. It's large and respected, with many followers, located right in the city of Rajagaha.
Besides ourselves, we'll have to persuade our followers to go with us.
All right, we'll leave tomorrow. The two of us have trained under Master Sanjaya until he has nothing more to teach us.
Quite so. And it's clear that his doctrine does not teach the way to deliverance that we are seeking.
If that's so, we have to seek out another hermitage, another master.
We have been friends for a long time. It's best if we make the promise that whichever one of us discovers the path out of suffering first, will seek out the other and inform him. Agreed?
Agreed. This renunciant walks with such inspiring mindfulness and composure. I've never seen any recluse like him before. I must take this opportunity to prepare him a seat and attend to his needs. Then, when he has eaten, I will politely ask him where he comes from. Venerable Sir, my name is Upatissa, but some people call me Sariputa after my mother's name, Sari. Please, may I be permitted to ask you, where did you ordain? Who's your teacher? Whose teachings or words do you follow?
My name is Venerable Assaji. My master is the Lord Buddha, from the Sakyan clan. I'm his disciple and follow his teachings.
And what exactly did your master teach you?
I've just been ordained, and thus cannot give you all of the profound teachings, but I can give you a brief version. Whatever dharmas arise due to causes, the great teacher explains those causes and the ending of those dharmas.
Oh, Upatissa, you repeat to me such short teachings that you heard, and it's enough for me to see the Dharma.
Quickly, let's go and persuade Master Sanjaya to seek out Venerable Assaji's teacher.
In this world, of which do you think there is more? Intelligent people or foolish people?
More foolish people, Master.
Such being the case, let those intelligent people go to study under Samana Gotama. I'll stay here for the sake of the foolish.
Bhikkhus, those two friends walking in here together
are to be my pair of foremost disciples. The one well established in morality develops ever-present awareness of objects as they arise in the mind. Seeing such objects arising and ceasing continually, he begins to grow weary of them. Becoming weary, he lets go of his grasping and clinging. Letting go of grasping and clinging, his heart is released.
Having heard the Buddha's teaching, all of the two friends' followers attained arahantship. But Upatissa and Kolita themselves, with their great accumulation of spiritual qualities and wisdom, were disposed to a slower but more profound realization of the Dhamma, and therefore did not yet become fully enlightened.
The two of you are now ordained as monks. I give you the names which will be an honor to your mothers as follows: Venerable Sariputa and Venerable Mogalana. Mogalana. Employ the methods for overcoming drowsiness that I taught you. Mogalana. Feeling, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, is impermanent. It is of the nature to arise and cease. Being impermanent, it makes for suffering. Being impermanent, it is transitory and insubstantial, unreal, aniccham, dukkam, anatta.
Venerable Buddha, sir, I take the view that all things are disagreeable to me. I do not delight in anything.
That being the case, you should not delight in your view, should you? Diganaka. Some people have the view that all things are disagreeable to them. Some have the view that all things are agreeable to them. And others have the view that some things are agreeable and some things disagreeable to them. Each of these views are based on grasping and clinging to the notion of a self. Remaining attached, one continues to grasp at feelings as they arise. Whoever should reflect on such feelings as impermanent phenomena, conditionally arising, existing, and passing away, will come to grow weary of conditioned phenomena. This weariness leads to the fading of lust. With the fading of lust comes freedom from attachment. When the heart is freed from attachment, one knows the heart has been freed.
Hearing the Buddha's teaching uprights that which was overturned, reveals that which was hidden, shows the way to one who was lost, shines a light in the darkness. I take the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha as refuge for the rest of my life.
The Venerable Sariputa was now the Buddha's right-hand disciple, foremost in wisdom. Venerable Mogalana was the Buddha's left-hand disciple, foremost in psychic powers. Both became great supports to the Buddha as he continued to spread his teachings to people far and wide.
Oh, Venerable Assaji, today has brought such a wonder.
Yes, indeed. Many of the Buddha's faithful disciples, hearing that the Lord Buddha was staying at Velvovana Monastery, traveled separately to meet him and pay their respects. This one great meeting was the occasion for 4 great marvels.
Chaturanga Sanipata means that 4 marvels occurred together on the same day. 1. On that day, 1,250 disciples of the Buddha came together without having made any prior arrangement. 2. Each of those disciples had been ordained by the Buddha himself. 3. Each of those disciples was attained to arahantship. 4. The meeting took place on the full moon of the 3rd lunar month, which is named Magha.
Today is the day of the Chaturanga Sanipata. I'll deliver the Ovada Patimokkha to the bhikkhus. To refrain from all evil, to do good to one's utmost, and to purify one's mind. This practice is the fundamental principle of Buddhism.
Kalodaihi, my senior counselor, ever since I first heard that my son had attained enlightenment and become the Buddha, I've been wishing to meet him. 9 times I've sent a counselor, each time accompanied with a retinue of 999 subjects, to invite the Buddha to come to Kapilavatu. Each time, the party of 1,000 has disappeared without a trace. That's 9,000 subjects I've sent and heard nothing in return. Well, Kaludai, since you are my senior counselor and have been close friends with my son since childhood, I must send you with your retinue to seek out the Buddha at Vulavanu Monastery and invite him one more time. Surely you will succeed in this.
Yes, Your Majesty. I will do my best to bring the Lord Buddha back to the city of Kapilavatu. And with your permission, I would also like to request ordination from the Lord Buddha on this occasion.
I give you my permission, Counselor Kalodai. Please make your journey as quickly as possible. I'll be waiting to hear news from you.
Each of you should diligently train yourselves thus. I will not grasp at the internal sense fields of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. I will not grasp at the external sense fields of form, sound, smell, taste, bodily contact, and mental objects. I will not grasp at contact between the internal and external sense fields. I will not grasp at feelings. I will not cling to the 5 aggregates of the body: feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness. I will not cling to this world or the next, when I cease clinging to all that I've seen, heard, known, felt, sought, and imagined, all feelings of attachment to these will also cease. Listen, all of you. A person's heart may be purified through consistently applied efforts in practice, through wisdom, through Dharma, and through morality, not by means of one's class, family, or property.
Lord Buddha, summer begins tomorrow. All the farmers have harvested their crops. The path to the city of Kapilavatu is open and suitable for travel. Your father has a strong wish to meet with you and your disciples. Please, out of compassion, travel to the city of Kapilavatu and teach Dharma to your father. Please teach Dharma to your relatives there.
I accept your invitation. Kalu Dai. Please inform the bhikkhus so that they can prepare themselves for travel.
The road from Rajagaha to Kapilavatu is 60 leagues. The Lord Buddha, along with 20,000 disciples, will travel 1 league per day. In 60 days, they will arrive at Kapilavatu city.
My relatives chose this banyan grove to build Nigrota Monastery as an offering to the Buddha. It's been 60 days since Venerable Kaludai sent news of the Buddha's departure from Rajagaha city. My relatives are waiting here to greet him.
The Lord Buddha and 20,000 bhikkhus have arrived, Your Highness.
The Lord Buddha's relatives are clinging to the view that the Buddha is junior to them because he is younger in age. They've positioned their young princes in front of themselves so that they won't have to pay their respects.
When my son was newly born, and Asita the hermit bowed to him, at that time I also paid homage for the first time. 7 years later, during the royal plowing ceremony, my son sat in meditation, and the rose apple tree shaded him throughout the afternoon, its shadow not shifting with the course of the sun. Witnessing this, I paid respects to my son for the second time. Now on this occasion, a truly wonderful marvel has appeared. May I take this opportunity to express my veneration for the third time.
This is Pokaravasa, the red rain. Unlike ordinary rain, it soaks only those who wish to be soaked by it. For those who wish to remain dry, every drop will roll right off, just like water drops roll off of a lotus leaf. My father and relatives, this is not the first time this red rain has fallen upon such an assembly of relations. In the past, when I was born as Vesantara, Pokaravasa also rained down on a congregation of myself and my relatives. Listen, all of you. Whoever upholds morality will have happiness in this world and the next. Whoever upholds morality will be blessed with riches and good fortune. Whoever upholds morality has an unobstructed path to nirvana. Therefore, may you all uphold the purity of morality.
My son, why do you bring shame to me by going around collecting alms of rice and food in this manner? You are of royal lineage, an heir to my throne. Or are you of the opinion that I cannot afford to provide you or your disciples with enough food myself?
Father, at the moment of my enlightenment, I departed from the Sakyan royal family lineage and was established in the lineage of awakened Buddhas. My going for alms round is in accordance with the tradition of all Buddhas. The Venerable Sangha also practiced this Buddhist convention. Father, please pay attention to this teaching. When a person clings to and indulges in form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and sense consciousness, that person is bound by the snare of Mara and burdened with the whole mass of suffering. When such a person doesn't cling or indulge in these, that person is freed from the snare of Mara and released from the whole mass of suffering.
Please, may I invite you and all your disciples to receive alms food in the royal palace tomorrow morning. In the 3 days since your arrival in the palace, myself and Queen Mahabhajapati have listened to your teachings and developed in the Dharma more and more each day. However, Bimba, who was your wife, has not yet emerged from her room to approach you. She has stayed right there the whole time, immersed in misery. I would like to invite you to please go and speak to her, so that she also may benefit from your teaching.
Father, I will go to teach Bimba, taking Venerable Mogalana and Venerable Sariputa, my left and right hand disciples, with me.
Why have you been so unkind to me, your wife? When you left for the holy life, you left in silence. Did I do something wrong to make you leave that way? If I did something wrong, then what was the fault of Rahula, born that very day, that you had to leave him bereft of a father?
Bimba, don't be so melancholy. What I did was to help you, and all beings, that you might have a chance to know the way out of suffering. Bimba, we were born in this world for making merit together, as we have for many lifetimes. Now is the time to reflect on those births and lifetimes, according to the truth as follows. I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. I am of the nature to die. I have not gone beyond dying. All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born of my karma, abide supported by my karma. Whatever karma I shall do, for good or for ill, of that I will be the heir.
My mother tells me that you have great treasures, you have great wealth. But since ordaining, you have no desire for royal wealth. As your royal successor, I wish to request my inheritance, which is mine by right.
External treasures bind one to the round of death and rebirth on the wheel of samsara. Better to give the noble treasure, that is, the most excellent internal treasure, instead of worldly wealth. Rahula, I have the most excellent noble treasure to offer you. Sariputa, release Rahula from worldly suffering and bestow him with noble treasure by ordaining him a samanera. Rahula, from this point on, you are a Samanera Rahula.
Oh, when Siddhartha left the palace and sought Buddhahood, I expected that Nanda would remain to inherit the throne. But then the Buddha took Nanda off to ordain. That left only my grandson, Rahula, who might succeed me. Then the Buddha ordained Rahula as well. If I don't do something, soon the whole Sakyan clan may go forth. I must quickly go to the Nigrota monastery and plead with the Buddha. Please, Lord Buddha, from this point on, should any householder's son wish to ordain, in the Buddha's dispensation, if his parents don't give their consent, please don't give the ordination.
Father, I agree to your request. Tomorrow I will leave, together with the Venerable Nanda, Samanera Rahula, and the Bhikkhu Sangha, for the Veluvana monastery in the city of Rajagaha. Nanda. Since you were first ordained, you have not been intent on the practice of Dhamma or the living of the holy life. All your thoughts are of returning to the household life.
My heart is constantly yearning for my wife, Janapada Kalyani. There's not a moment spent when I don't think of her.
Nanda, come with me, and I'll show you things that you've never seen before. Nanda, those are Apasara goddesses in heaven. What do you think about them?
Every one of those Apsara goddesses is beautiful in face and form. I can think of nothing to compare them with. Even my wife, Janapada Kalyani, has not half their beauty.
Nanda, can you see that what you thought before to be exceedingly beautiful now pales in comparison to greater beauty?
Yes, Lord Buddha, I can see. From this point on, I'll make up my mind to practice the Dharma. I'll live the holy life without letting my heart be obsessed with Janapada Kalyani ever again. I've now seen for myself that there are countless goddesses in heaven, many times more beautiful than her. Nothing can ensnare a man's heart more tightly than a woman. Nothing can ensnare a woman's heart more tightly than a man. In truth, love is like a noose which binds one to obsession and infatuation. It brings one to birth and death in the world again and again, dragging one down into a mass of suffering.
That's right, Nanda. There is no pleasure equal to the peace that can be found within one's own heart. For as long as humans rush around seeking external distractions, they will never meet with genuine happiness. Nanda, when you release your clinging and view the whole world as empty, your heart will be free, open, expansive, radiant, and joyful.
Uttara, why did you send someone to ask for such a large sum of money from your father? I am your husband. I would have given it to you myself. There was no need to bother your father.
Dear husband, since our marriage, I have had little opportunity to make merit. I wanted the money to buy food